South Africa does not have an economic problem, it has a political problem, and that instability is threatening the country's economic growth. That's the view of Business Unity South Africa CEO Cas Coovadia. The group says Parliament must act decisively to process the Section 89 report to prevent both the public and investors from losing confidence in government. Coovadia joins us now virtually from here in Johannesburg. Cas, thank you so much for your time this evening. It has been a rip-roaring 24 hours, indeed. Quite a way to start December, and unfortunately we've become quite used to that here annually in South Africa, with chaos normally coming from the political front. But we can't take hits like this anymore on the economic front, can we?
No, we can't. We should be doing everything we can do to actually increase confidence in the country, to bring about stability both politically and economically from a policy point of view. And this is a significant blow for the country. There's absolutely no two ways about it. I mean, when an independent panel produces a report and finds that the president may have a case to answer, that is obviously a serious concern and a crisis. And what we have urged government to do, given that the process was that Parliament appointed the committee has not given its report to the Speaker. It is only correct that Parliament processes this before we jump to conclusion and before we take any decisions. And all we're asking is that the Speaker must process this with haste and do it transparently. This must be, whatever debates they have, must be in the public space. Public should know exactly what they're talking about, be as transparent as you can, debate it in the National Assembly, and come to a conclusion as soon as possible so that we have some degree of certainty in this.
The presidency and the ruling party really seemed to be at sixes and sevens when this report came out. How did you read their reaction, or the very non-organized way in which they reacted to the report? And would you have preferred for them to have more of their ducks in a row in preparation for that report's released?
I think we would have preferred that. I mean, this Pala thing has been going on for quite some time. One of the scenarios would have had to be a report that is negative. In this case, it is to the president. And they should have planned how they actually respond to this. The president is still consulting, I'm told. That's why he wasn't at the NEC meeting either. This seems to point to a last-minute sort of response to something that's been in the pipeline for quite some time. Why that has happened, I don't know, but that just adds to the uncertainty. And we have said in our statement that, look, in a situation like this, it's very easy for political parties to jump onto the bandwagon, all sorts of rhetoric, all sorts of criticism. That's the easy way to deal with this. I think politicians need to act in a statesman-like fashion and act in a way that actually is in the national interest, not in party political interest or in factional interests. And that's business's call for this. I mean, there isn't too much more we can do. This is a political process, essentially. And we are urging that this political process unfolds quickly and brings about some certainty at the end of it.
Now, during those hours where we first heard from the presidency that there would be an announcement and then there wasn't going to be an announcement, in those same hours, we saw the rand just absolutely tank around that uncertainty. What were you hearing from both your members on the ground and I'm sure, your friends in business and economics from around the world? I'm sure there must have been frantic phone calls and messages saying, what is going on down there?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, not only did the rand tank, I mean, some of the financial sector firms, shares tanked. And absolutely, there is concern that if we don't deal with this decisively and quickly, that there'll be ongoing instability. And let's not forget that this is happening in the run-up to the ANC elective conference later this month, which was already going to be pretty contested, and now this muddies the waters in that conference. That could create more uncertainty. So, it's a big ask for politicians to actually look beyond their own interests and party political interests. But I think this is a time when if politicians in this country and across all parties do not act in a statesman-like manner and do not put the country first, I think history will judge them.
Did you open your inbox with a heavy heart this morning? Because, I mean, we've spoken to you repeatedly during COVID and, subsequent recovery processes that have been put in place. There have been road shows that the president himself has led to try and get investment back up and really bang the drum of economic recovery. And then something like this happens. Did you wake up this morning opening your laptop and just feel a little bit defeated and deflated?
Yeah, it is. It's discouraging and it's distressing. We've been doing a lot of work with government to try and support them in doing what they need to do. And we keep on shooting ourselves in the feet. What irritates me continuously is that we just don't leverage off the amazing opportunities we have in this country. I mean, with all the problems we have, I said before, and I will say again, this is the greatest country in the world. I ain't going anywhere else. But we need to stop shooting ourselves in the foot. We need to start appreciating that the mantra should be investment and growth, without which we can't address a whole range of problems. And countries just to the north of us, on this continent, are competing with us for that investment and are getting it right. Because they are sending out a clear message that we need investment. And on the back of that investment, we will build inclusive growth, because without that, we can't address the problems we have. And we've got to stop prevaricating about this. We've got to stop, distrusting business as government does. I know I can put my hand on my heart and be absolutely clear that business is coming to the party. When we say create the environment and investment will flow, we've shown. I mean, on embedded energy, when the ceiling was lifted to 100 megawatts, we've got close to 4 billion rand worth of projects on the go at the moment. And that investment flowed. And so let's work together to create that environment, but let's stop shooting ourselves in the feet. We've just got to put the country first now, and everything else has got to be secondary to that.
Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time
and
for your insight. That's Business Unity South Africa CEO Cas Coovadia joining us virtually from here in Johannesburg. Lots of deep breaths within the business community after what's transpired over the last day or so.